Joining us now, the man of the hour potentially. He's also going to be with us we're going to double header. He's also going to be with us live on Friday. Is the chairman of the 10th Congressional District, Republican, John Whitbeck, also now the leading candidate to take over as chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia. There were three people in the race: John Whitbeck, 1st District Chairman Eric Kerr, and pastor from Virginia Beach, Aaron Wheeler. Now we understand from a phone call to John Whitbeck last night, Eric Kerr has withdrawn from the race. That leaves Whitbeck and Wheeler. Whitbeck, the overwhelming favorite to win. John, great to have you with us.
Hey, John, great to be here again.
Now, you got a call last night from Eric Kerr withdrawing. Can you share with our audience what he said?
Oh, I mean, there's very few gentlemen I've met in politics as much of a class act as Eric Kerr. I mean, this is a guy who works tirelessly for the party, would have made an amazing chairman, and his statement was very simply, you have my 100% support. I think there's not a lot of differences between our visions for the party. I think he'll make a great chairman and all kinds of nice things. And, coming from a guy like Eric, who's very accomplished in his profession, who's very, very well liked among Republicans, and who is just a great family man, a great Christian, very, very strong pro-life, pro-gun, very conservative. It's an honor to have a support from a gentleman of his caliber.
His decision to leave the race, that leaves it between you and Virginia Beach pastor Aaron Wheeler. John, you need basically, do the math, you need about 43 votes to win. Wheeler, an outsider. How do you plan on going forward now?
Well, I haven't seen I don't know Pastor Wheeler. I haven't seen him announce, so you're sort of telling me something that I've heard just sort of through rumor. So I don't know.
Well, he has announced. He announced his candidacy on our show about on Friday, I believe. On Monday. Okay,
well, there you go. I don't worry about who gets in the race, who gets out. I mean, there's been, probably 30 names that have been, bandied about. I've been doing the work on this since the day after the election when Pat Mullins resigned, and then we've got a strong majority of the votes on State Central. Obviously, you have to hold it together. Can't take anything for granted. But I've spent hours on doing the work. The kind of campaign you run is the kind of elected official or party official you'll be. And I think the hard work that we've done. We got people like Mark Ogunshane, as you know, behind us, and I couldn't be in a better spot, in my opinion, where we're at, and very humbled and honored to have the support of so many folks. And I've called beyond just the folks that are on the State Central Committee. I've been calling activists around the state, people that I know and don't know. People from the Liberty Caucus, people from the Tea Party, people from the establishment, people from whatever label you want to associate. I've made it a point to make those calls and make sure that they hear from me, hear what our vision is for the party, and make sure they know that we're going to, be everybody's chairman and not just from one faction or the other. And, that's what I ran on when I ran for 10th District Chairman, and that's what I've been running on when I've been running for RPD Chairman.
John, let's stick with politics here a little bit. Assuming you are elected chairman to fill out Pat Mullins' interim term, which would be 2015 and some of 2016 before the convention, are you going to run for a full term in 2016?
Yeah, I absolutely. I don't see how all the things that need to get done are going to get done in the next year and a few months. I mean, we've got three things that we're focusing on, as I said before to you, John. Our fundraising, rebuilding that, making sure that our grassroots operation, our victory operation, our data is sound and ready to go for this year and next year, and making sure that this party infighting stops. And I'll just address that for a second. there's a lot that goes into it. Some of it involves changing the party structure, the party plan, to avoid some of the infighting that's caused by just weak party rules and the manipulation of party rules. Some of that has to do with sitting down with various sides and letting them know that they're not going to be shut out of the process, regardless of what faction they may be. Some of it involves improving our relationship with the House and Senate caucuses. Some of it involves, having messaging to Republicans that are dissatisfied with the party that we're back and better than ever. And really, that infighting issue is going to take a while to resolve. It's not going to be done overnight. Not everybody is going to be 100% with me on all the issues. And, my goal is to make sure that everybody, even if they disagree with what we're doing or with how we think on an issue, that they respect it and then move on. I mean, that's what I try to do in my profession as an attorney. I mean, you fight it out in court, and then you go grab a beer after court and stay colleagues. And that's really what we need to get back to as Republicans is, we can fight it out on the floor of the House, floor of the Senate, the floor of the State Central Committee, the floor of the United States Congress, wherever Republicans are facing off. But at the end of the day, we're all on the same team, and we've sort of gotten away from that. And as the quarterback, if you will, of the RPD, I want to get us back to that team atmosphere and get everybody back together in the locker room and let's win.
John, here's the reality, though. I mean, that sounds great. I mean, that really sounds fabulous, and everybody's for that. But then, reality sets in, and it is what it is. Look, there are such disparate factions in the Republican Party of Virginia right now. I've never seen anything like it. I've only been in Virginia since 2011, so I don't have the history, the lineage. My father's didn't. You can't date my family back to Thomas Jefferson like everybody else in this state, and I'll be an outsider forever and ever. That's just how it is in this state, and that's fine. But I've never seen this. I mean, I'll give you an example. Susan Stimson sends an email out. She's challenging Bill Howell for Speaker of the House in his district in Stafford. I mean, I look at Bill Howell. This is one of the most conservative warriors I've ever engaged in my life. And he stood up against Medicaid expansion. The guy's tough as nails. And, he backed the transportation bill, but so did I, because if you live in Southeast Virginia or Northern Virginia, you can't drive anyplace. It hadn't been done in 4 decades. It had to get done. There's a million reasons behind it. But now you got all these people, they're trying to kick out Bill Howell, who's cobbled together a 68-seat supermajority in a blue state. How do you bring this together?
Well, I think it's a mistake to associate, and the Washington Post is trying to do this, and not a shocker, but I think it's a mistake to associate someone's lawful right to primary an elected official with infighting. I mean, you're never going to have a situation where the party is satisfied with its elected leaders, and obviously the Eric Cantor thing feeds into, people being emboldened to do certain things. But when I talk about infighting, I'm not talking about people primarying elected officials, and that's going to happen regardless. We could be fully united and everybody's on the same page, and there could be bad legislation that leads one district or another district to have a primary challenge. I mean, look what happened to Joe May, up here in the 10th district. He was primaried by Dave LaRock. Not because the 10th district was united. In fact, the unity in the 10th district is just fantastic. Everybody gets along up here, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have primary challenges. And as soon as Dave LaRock got the nomination, the vast majority, overwhelming majority of Republicans who were for Joe May got behind Dave LaRock. And that's just how we do business up here in the 10th. There were a few people that, threw temper tantrums about, Dave LaRock was too conservative, but this guy turned out to be an excellent delegate. So I just don't equate infighting with primary challenges. And as chairman, I'm going to stay out of endorsing people. I just think the party chairman needs to be everybody's chairman. But I think that this is something that that we really need to distance ourselves from the notion that just because somebody primaries somebody, automatically that's symptomatic of infighting. I think the slating and the inter-party fights that went on all around the state are really what the infighting is. That's the symptomatic results of infighting, not the fact that somebody's getting primaried, even somebody high profile like the speaker.
All right, Joe, I can buy into what you're saying. I'm not sure I agree with it in this instance, but I can buy into it. I also agree that the slating thing with, people running around trying to slate different candidates to take people out of his chair, and that effort was simply to knock some of the Republicans off the steering committee that are favorable to conventions and put people on like me that are not, that want primaries. But look, that's not going to happen, John. I mean, I thought that the Firehouse caucus primary that you put together in the 10th district was the textbook way. It satisfied me because I don't want conventions. I want anybody to be able to go out there and participate. It was big enough to satisfy me. It also satisfied, some of the conventioneers. That was just put together so well, so brilliantly. But how do you bridge as chairman this constant battle between nominating at conventions or primaries?
Yeah, that is, one of the top issues that we're just not overcoming in the party. And I agree with you, John. I mean, you and I may disagree on what process is best, but we can definitely agree that this is a huge problem in terms of the party unity. As somebody who supports conventions, I'll tell you that it's likely that they're going to continue in the near future. There's just not an appetite within the party for state-run primaries. And speaking of the canvas, we sort of blew out of the water the notion that state-run primaries are now open when our canvas with 10 locations outperformed the 2013 state-run primary with 180-something locations. So, that's really, party nominating processes can be as open or more open than the state-run primary. Really what we need to focus on right now is addressing the concerns of the folks that are against convention. And, one of the examples of this is, this Friday at our state central committee meeting at the Advance, we're going to be doing an aggressive overhaul of the convention rules to address the problem that comes with the exclusion of military members, which they're not excluded, but there are ways that we can make it more inclusive of military members. This is a critical issue and a critical argument that anti-convention people have made for years about why we should do conventions. We're going to solve that problem on Friday. Hopefully the state central committee will vote for it. And this is going to be I don't want to call it bipartisan because that's not really the right word, but this is going to be a team effort. There's folks from all sides of this issue that are coming together to debate this and that input into this. And I'm talking about pro-primary and pro-convention people have all had input into this. And you're going to see an extraordinary step forward in the fight on this issue, and a lot of people coming together. And it's amazing how quickly we were able to do it. And I'm very proud of my party. I'm the chairman of the party planning committee that vets all these things. Very proud of my committee for doing the work that they've done from all sides of the party to get this going.
All right, John Whitbeck, we want to thank you for joining us on such short notice today. Whitbeck running for the interim term of the retiring Pat Mullins for Republican Party chairman of Virginia. And, John, we're also going to hopefully hook up with you on Friday and at the Advance. And can you tell everybody that might be going there about your big tailgating event?
Yeah, we're on the tailgate event. It's going to be at the Westfield Lounge, which is right next to the Wellington's Bar. Right when you walk in, you won't be able to miss it. It's at 5:30 to 7. Just a cool little. I'm calling it the tailgate before the Advance gets going. And I'm a huge football fan, so I love tailgating, and I thought it'd be an appropriate thing this time of year to theme the party after. So it's going to be a great event. Come on out and have some food and fellowship with your fellow Republicans.
All right, sounds like a good time. We want to thank John Whitbeck for joining us. We'll be talking to him again on Friday morning. John, good luck. Thank you.
All right, bud. Take care. Bye.